This video is sponsored by Christoph Frey. For excellent low-poly horror games, check the link in the description below for some of his works. What's up, y'all? Boogie Knight here, and welcome back to the Dark Souls Lorethrough. Thank y'all so much for joining me on this journey. Hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. I was talking about going to Blighttown in this episode, but in hindsight, there's one more thing I want to accomplish before we move on further downstairs, I guess. And believe it or not, it's actually going to take us all the way back to where the journey began. And by that, I mean the Northern Undead Asylum. Yes, there is a way to return back to where it all began, and I'm going to show you guys how. And that's not just because I want to see about how to get this item. It's also an item in there that is required to have access to one of the DLCs. And also, I want to see what's happened in the asylum since we left. So we're going to do that this episode, or at least we're going to try to. We're going to see how much we die, of course. And as we journey back, there's actually, I kind of want to talk about something very briefly. And that is, a couple episodes I talked about the overall setup of the mapping of how Dark Souls has been established. So I've done some rough sketches and then actually caved and Google mapped the entire setup, and it's actually pretty on point. I'm not bragging about it, but it does actually stack exactly how it's supposed to be. And I'll talk about that in just 1 second. So, Crestfallen, let's see if he has to say anything, see if there's any more triggers.
Have you been to the ruins of New Londo below? Just head down the stairs and take the lift. It's certainly worth a visit. It was once an undead city. You may find a clue or two, unless the ghosts find you first.
No, we have not been to New Londo just yet, but that is something we will do.
How did that nutty sorcerer make it back? Unexpected, but I suppose stranger things have happened.
Anything else you want to talk to us about?
How did that unexpected?
Okay. I'm curious to see if he's talking about either Griggs or possibly Laurentius. So how do we get back to the Undead Asylum? I actually had to look this up. Let's see if Petrus has anything more he wants to say.
Oh, you again? Me? I've become separated from my lady. I've scoured near and far, but no sight of her. Where could she have gone? My lady, to think I swore to protect you with my life.
Yeah, sure thing, Petrus.
Your Highness, where have you gone? I am entirely to blame for this. Oh, woe
And
is
why
me.
is that?
I am unworthy, deathly so.
That's interesting he says deathly so in the world of the undead. Something to think about. So how do we get back to the Northern Undead Asylum? From what I looked at, we have to take this lift, roll off here, and I believe we go over there. Before we do that, I want to just look at the surrounding for a second. And this is what I mean by the topography, the geography of where we are. So here we are in Firelink Shrine. Then over there we have the wall leading to the Undead Burg. And that is stacked floor to ceiling. But then you have the lower Undead Burg just down there, and further down the depths. And we will be able to see other parts of the map from when we get to Blighttown. As was evident with the depths, you could see cracks in the light shining through when we were in the Gaping Dragon Room. Now, this tree we see straight ahead, our 12 o'clock position, is called the Great Hollow. And it's another place we will visit later on, and it goes all the way down. You will see roots spreading of the Great Hollow to other areas in the game, all the way down to an area called Ash Lake. In fact, it's also been postulated that the Great Hollow, in a sense, is a world tree much like Yggdrasil in Norse mythology. That's never been confirmed or denied from Miyazaki or FromSoft, but now we have to get onto this buttress. That was foolish. I was trying to go for a fast roll. That didn't happen. It's gonna dump us back down here. I suppose we could kill some skeletons while we're here, but I want to stack up more damage on my great axe. Speaking of which, I also in the last episode we modified our axe to a raw axe using the raw ember, and I realized that's not what I wanted to do, so I switched it back to the regular battle axe +5, but then used my Titanite to up it to a +6. I believe we can get all the way back to a +10 on the battle axe until we get some better equipment. But once again, I used the battle axe in Dark Souls 2. I'm comfortable with it, but we'll see whatever we can find later on. The Drake Sword should work okay for the time being. Up we go. Yep. Well, that didn't work either, but we probably have to have that one lift, or we can just do a Pierre Kirby tuck and roll. Let's try that again. Come on. There we go. I am not that skilled. Shocker, I know. Alright, so let's go ahead and line ourselves up. Nope. Okay. No camera. There we go. That's step 1. And here is the creature that will take us back to the Undead Asylum, this gigantic crow. And no one really knows why the crow itself is hell-bent on helping you guys out. There's a fan theory going about that that it's Velka, the goddess of sin, there we go, the Undead Asylum F2 West. Let's look at that really quickly, but it's speculated that the crow is an avatar of Velka, the goddess of sin, and since, according to a lot of the backstory, undead are sinners and whatnot, she is trying to prove we are not, but that's subject to debate. So the Undead Asylum F2 West key, it's the key to the iron bars on the west side of the second floor of the Northern Undead Asylum. It's a giant undead prison segmented by countless iron bars, but even if a hero found a key in Lorethrough to liberate this prison, would he have the means or the heart to ever come back? Well, it's funny that the game says that because, well, that's what we're going to do. So now we need to, I think we just need to drop down here. And then that'll dump us back over there, maybe? Probably. Or not. Just dumps us back in front of Petrus. Let's go back to the bonfire. Okay, so we made some steps. But the key is for the item that we really should have when we go to Blighttown. Excuse me. Stupid allergies. Anyway. So going back to the mapping and how everything is stacked perfectly. Well, maybe not perfectly, but very well done from our perspective. There was an interview with Miyazaki in the FromSoft team in the DesignWorks book, and one of the questions was about the level design, the character, how the areas are set up. And from what Miyazaki often talks about is that he'll have a rough idea about what an area is supposed to look like, and then tells it to his design team, and they just run with it. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's always going to be spot checking and stuff like that, but I love that idea that they have given pretty much a free rein to how certain levels are going to do. And it's really cool how they came up with this overall structure of Lorethrough as a whole and how it all blends together. Now, obviously, I'm sure certain levels are set up to kind of, you know, be different overall. I'm sure not all layouts are perfectly symmetrical, but, you know, we can't have everything, can we? Damn it to hell. Worked last time. So, you know what? Let's just go ahead and forego bonfire runs. Let's go ahead and try this again. We had it the first time. I mean, I suppose we could have just leapt back over to the steps, and that would have helped things immensely, but it didn't work out. And I'm trying... Actually, no, we will have to get back to the bonfire so we can de-aggro the skeletons. I don't know how far they... Yeah, you go ahead and do that, buddy. Coming up next, Boogie Night spends 20 minutes trying to get to the friggin' lift. I mean, the controls aren't exactly the greatest for jumping in the Souls series. For those that have played, they'll agree with me on that. Let's try that again. Okay, 4th time's the charm. Okay, and back down we go. There we go. But yeah, the fact that, I mean, I'm sure most companies have a pretty good design team that can do pretty much what the producer and leader of the group can come up with idea-wise. But, you know, I think in this game how, for an area that's that's so open world, yet so... There we go. Don't you dare. It's so open world, yet it's so well put together. I think that works so well. Okay, so... Over here? I think? Maybe... Okay, so that would have been better for us to do, is to just come back out here on the ledge. Shows how little I know. Maybe we go up here. I know we gotta go right by the crow. How are you set up, madam? Do I really have to do all this again? Probably. Oh, I think I know what I have to do. Looking for... Ooh. Oh, here we go. Dude, more stairs. I think this is where we need to go. There it is. There's our access. Don't you fall, renegade. Don't you fall. Back to the crow's nest. So we're going to curl up into a ball, and this should help us along. Now, if this really is the avatar of Velka, I think that would be really cool. Guess we have to wait. If this really is the avatar of Velka, that really shows how the gods do exist predating Gwyn and the Four Lords. I think we just have to wait now. Come on. Fresh eggs. There we go. But I find this very interesting because, and I want to tie this back to the old gods predating the Four Lords because, well, Gwyn is sunlight, the Witch of Izalith is fire, chaos, Nito is death, and the furtive pygmy is, well, nobody knows. And welcome back to the asylum. And I want to look just a little bit around here about how desolate it is. Nothing but mountains. And as I touched about in the first episode, it's very fascinating to me is because when the undead were corralled, when did it occur? Sure, they were corralled and led to the north to prolong the Age of Fire. But how long did this continue? Now, before we go further in, there is something over here I want to look at. Another traitor. Not traitor, traitor. This is Snuggly the Crow. Or at least... Snuggly. Let's try something very quickly. Oop, nope. I guess Snuggly is not around. Okay, we'll try that again. That could just be a glitch. Snugly the Crow is basically the basis for, like, Dyla and Twilo, or Deela and Twilo, I don't know how to say those names, in Dark Souls 2. Good job, go straight at her. Or Pickle Pea in Dark Souls 3. Let's go ahead and get... Oh, hello. It's interesting, now with the Asylum Demon dead, the Hollow run wild. And there's something else I want to touch upon regarding hollowing and the undead and stuff like that. If all the undead are truly cursed and corralled here until the end of time, eventually going hollow, wouldn't this place be at critical mass? Wouldn't it be... Is there anything in here? Oh, here's a familiar face. Remember this guy? Remember Oscar, the man who helped us in the beginning, who warned that he would truly go hollow? I'm trying to go for a backstab here. He's pretty fast, but I think we're faster. Oh, he's going for the two-hand. Come on. Come on, get out of the corner. Oh, we went for the kick. Good night, Oscar. Sleep well. I don't believe Oscar respawns, but we did get a crest shield. Let's take a quick look at this really quickly. Let's actually go ahead and unequip that. Yeah, crest shield. Our spider shield does less damage, less fire or lightning damage compared to the crest shield, but the crest shield has more magic damage and has 100%, whereas, so both have 100%, but the crest shield has a, okay, has lower stuff. So we're going to keep with the spider shield for now, but let's go ahead and look at the description. Shield of a nameless knight, likely a high-ranked knight of Astora. One of the enchanted blue shields. The crest shield greatly reduces magic damage. That's good to know as we get further out. Now, once again, since I don't believe Oscar respawns, we're gonna have the same trap as last time. Oh, hi. Ahaha! So you can't teach an old hollow new tricks. Let's talk a little bit about spawning versus respawning. Because, once again, if the undead were truly corralled here from the north, or to the north, from all over the realm, Astora, the Great Swamp, Thorland, Vinheim, or was it only the undead that were that decided to make this pilgrimage to Lorethrough? That's a curious piece of lore that I don't know if it's true, what has been done. But I'm guessing that it's just from all over the place, because the undead are called to make the pilgrimage to Lorethrough. However, so wouldn't this place be at complete critical mass if the undead never fully die? Well, that's something we're going to find out about in just a few moments when we fight the next boss. Now, Morgues was giving me some decent tips for how to deal with these dudes. Come on. Sweet dreams. Now, this is what we can use Undead West key for, and that is to get a superb item that we desperately will need. Well, not desperately, but it helps the situation greatly. And that is the Rusted Iron Ring. Let's take a look at that description really quickly. Rusted Iron Ring, here we go. Was used to shackle the guilty. It is terribly rusted and faintly stained with blood. Those who find this strange ring to their liking will be pleased to find it easier to gain footing on poor ground such as swamps. So the lower part of Blighttown, we're actually going to remove the Ring of the Evil Eye and put on the Rusted Iron Ring. It is nothing more than a poisonous swamp. We really will need that to get less poison damage and things like that. Yeah, let's go. Just go the way that leads us out. That's a way. Yeah, we're completely backtracking. Whoa! Oh, hi. I did not anticipate a Black Knight here. Nor was I anticipating the damage that he was doing. And we're going to talk a little more about the Black Knights in a few minutes. Provided I don't die fighting him. Okay. Not good. I'm gonna have to work on the parry for this dude. Now, the Black Knights, as I want to talk about quickly, before we go fight our next boss, is... the Black Knights were Knights of Gwyn that followed him into the kiln of the First Flame, and thus... That was so stupid of me. Followed him into the kiln of the First Flame, so when he sacrificed himself to prolong the Age of Fire, the Knights followed him in, and thus when the kiln burned, it set them all ablaze and turned their sun armor into black armor. And now, irony be it, they're hollow and guarding everything. Thus, we bring ourselves to our next boss battle. Remember this demon from, we saw wandering the halls? I think we're just gonna go ahead and two-hand. I know we have a tendency to, I know this is like another model compared to, or is the same model as the Asylum Demon, but it's got a few more surprises. Such as that. Well, there we go. And some fans have actually gotten irked about how this Stray Demon is the exact same model as the Asylum Demon. But think about it for a second. The demons were sent here to guard Hollow, to guard the undead. They were sent there for that one purpose, to guard these undead. But then again, let's think about it for a second. How did the demons get here? The demons were spawn of... The demons were caused by the Witch of Izalith, correct? I gotta be careful with this one. Really? Really? Not a good idea. Let's try that again. No, we want this. We're at a two-hand. There we go. We're just gonna ignore these undead, because we're just gonna fall anyway, straight into the pit. I think we're just going to go ahead and forego auto-targeting like, Like we did for the Covenants, or for the Gaping Dragon. Oh my god. Okay, so when it does the smashing attack. Speaking of smashing. Okay. So that's a bad one. I think we're gonna try one more time, and if that all else fails with that, we're going to get the other. You know what? Actually, while we're doing that, let's go ahead and we're going to try the Stray Demon one more time in a little bit. It is an optional boss, but there is something I do want to accomplish here before we go. So, we might have to go back to the Stray Demon another time. We'll find out, because once again, there's one more thing we do have to get here. And literally, at the very end, the very beginning of the journey. All the way back to our cell. Maybe I'm just not prepared, maybe I'm under-leveled, but there's also something I want to show you down here, and that is the room of the Stray Demon. You can see the bones around the center of the arena that we were in, and that ties into the concept of, well, you know, hollowing, and why isn't the prison at critical mass? And that is because I knew this guy was coming. Wonder, I guess we can. Maybe we can backstab them. Well, that's the object of what we were looking for. So even if we do. Oop. Oh. Okay, I was gonna try and see if I could pull up the Pyromancy flame really quickly. And see if I could go for a burning. God, wouldn't that be ironic? Burning the Black Knight. Sorry, too much. So anyways, eventually going hollow. And this is actually touched upon implicitly in Dark Souls 2. And I'll explain in a second. Good lord, you've got high armor. I'd love to see if I get a drop from you. Go for the stun lock. We're okay. Probably should up my endurance pretty soon. Maybe, yeah, I guess we probably can't go for a backstab on a Knight of Gwyn. That's to be expected. Then again, we could stunlock Havel, and Havel was another adherent to Gwyn, as well as a bishop of possibly the Way of the White. So I think the reason there are skeletons all over the place in the Stray Demon is because eventually the undead go truly hollow, and that's when the demons eventually smash them up against the bars constantly until they're completely devoid of their souls. They're completely devoid of their purpose, and they go permanently hollow, and then they die. And the reason I say that's partly alluded to in Dark Souls 2 is because... that was stupid. If you... he's done it. And we got a red Titanite chunk. Left stick, hold, and dash. Okay. Yeah, we'll try the Stray Demon one more time. We didn't get many souls out of this, but let's go ahead and look at the Red Titanite chunk now. +9 reinforces fire weapons to +9 and chaos weapons to +4. With the discovery of chunks in Lordran, the race to locate the legendary slaps has begun, but could they be a mere myth? That is subject to speculation. So we got what we were looking for. So I think we're going to try the Stray Demon one more time. It's probably going to go really poorly. But, you know, we died 6 times before we were able to kill Capra. So I'm not going to discount it. I think we just need to be a little more discreet, a little more tactical. And if that doesn't work, well, we got what we were looking for. We got the Rusted Iron Ring, and we got the Peculiar Doll. And we'll look at the Peculiar Doll when we either beat this guy or when we die another time. Oh, good. How did that Hollow survive the fall? Okay, saw it. We're gonna try it one more time. One more time. And I think that's a mistake a lot of players make, is when they see the Stray Demon, they're like, oh, okay, so it's just like the Asylum Demon. It's gonna be the same tactic, same concept, and then things go awry. But I think that's also the nature of the beast in Dark Souls in general, is we get overly confident. And we completely destroy ourselves. I mean, we are... from his butt attack. Get out of the blast. There we go. I believe Ian B said he tried to fight him originally with the Drake Sword, and it did not go according to plan. Okay, so that's when he does the Fire Blast. How'd I miss that? Alright, so now we're learning the tricks of the trade. Yeah, you smashed that demon ass. Never thought I would say that out loud. There's gonna be a lot of cringy comments about me having a playing smack that demon ass. Nope. Oh! Damn it, that's not what I was hoping to do. I was trying to get away from the blast. Oop. Okay, this time this is going to be our last try. I feel like we've got the tactic down a little bit more now. And we just got to be... It's the fire blasts that really do it. And I'm beginning to understand why people say that the Drake Sword is losing its touch. I wonder... Bear with me one second. Ooh, you can actually hear up down there. Do we have any... I thought we had charcoal pine resin. Apparently we don't. Okay, so Peculiar Doll. A strange doll in strange dress. There once was an abomination who had no place in this world. She clutched this doll tightly and eventually was drawn to a cold and lonely painted world. This is the allusion to the painted world of Ariamis in DLC, which we will do in the game. Oh, come on. That was just a bloody cheap shot. Nope. we're going to come back to the asylum later on more at a higher level. I believe that you do have the ability to keep coming back to these zones. I don't see any reason why, but this also will give me a chance to see if Snuggly is awake, if Snuggly will talk to us. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, so not too bad for what we needed to do. We got to get a little more insight on the Black Knights of Gwyn. And as well as some more concepts on Going Hollow. So, at least that's my theory on Going Hollow, is if after a while of you going full hollow, you don't come back. Like, your soul is gone. Like what we do, we steal the souls. Oh.
You, give me warm, give me soft.
Alright, so Snuggly, here we go, is you can drop stuff in his nest, and he'll trade it for you. I don't know what goes on. I think you can trade something to him, and you'll get a really nice weapon or item. But you can even trade rubbish. So we're gonna go ahead and drop that. Yes. And then pick up an item. Or not. Hang on. Okay, so I believe now what we have to do is quit and go back in, and then there will be a different item waiting for us. I wonder what level E and B was when he fought the Stray Demon. Okay, so now we're back here.
You, give me.
We got a Titanite chunk. There we go. Now that's massive, because we can use Titanite chunks for massive upgrades when we get more Ember to Andre, or maybe one of the other blacksmiths, because there are several. So we're going to say goodbye to the Northern Undead Asylum for now. We will, if we have the ability to come back, we will. Just taking a minute to admire the desolate landscape. And fight the Stray Demon again. Oh, those graphics are so awesome. Love them. So now we journey back to the land of Lorethrough and continue our pilgrimage. Now we really have what it takes. Thank you, Velka. If that is Velka. Oh, that was close. So I think what we're going to do now is we are going to call it a session, and then what I'll do off camera is I will go back to the Depths Bonfire, because our next step on the trek is Blighttown. So thank y'all so much for watching. Once again, if you have any feedback, particularly for fighting the Stray Demon, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Your own theories on Lorethrough, on Hollowing, on any of the subjects that we've touched upon, please let me know. I read every comment, and I also try to reply to every comment within reason. Once again, a big thank you to Christoph Frey for being my sponsor. If you like low-poly horror games, you should definitely check him out. His games are fantastically done, atmospheric, really excellently. Just definitely go. I encourage y'all to check the link in the description below for some of his works. So, of course, with that being said, before I call it a night, if you like the Boogie Nights project and you want to find out more, I do have a Twitter page as well as a public Discord channel, and links to both of those are in the description below, as well as a link to my temporarily down Twitch page, and if you're so morbidly inclined, my Patreon account. So otherwise, I hope y'all have a fantastic night, and I'll catch you on the flip side, alright? Peace.